Talk Area, the Joel Natale Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio, and we want to welcome to the microphone Mary Beth Cerrucci. She is with Americans for, remind me here.
Americans for Prosperity.
Americans for Prosperity. How could I miss that? Mary Beth is in town for their inflation relief giveaway event that they had earlier today at Bellows Market on West 8th Street. Mary Beth, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, tell us a little bit about, kind of the background that brought you to Erie here.
So Americans for Prosperity actually started a tour last year. We called it the Prosperity is Possible Tour. And we're traveling around the country with our RV. Okay. And then also I have a wrapped Jeep that says Prosperity is Possible with the Statue of Liberty on. And I'm traveling around the state, too. So we have multiple tours going on. And the idea is to engage the public in government policy. Because, a lot of people don't like to talk about government policy. So we do a lot of fun events. We've done gas station giveaways where we lower the price of gas to $2.38 a gallon, which is what it was when Joe Biden took office.
Okay.
And we pay the difference for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And we use that opportunity to educate people on why we have inflation. And it's very engaging. People are always willing to talk. They're willing to share their problems, their personal stories. And at the same time, we give them hope. We give them, solutions for a positive future. And we also help them engage. Americans for Prosperity is a grassroots organization. Through our website, people can engage specifically by signing letters to their elected officials, petitions. They can get information. They can go to events. It's really a way to try to engage people in a fun way. So today we were in Erie doing a grocery gift card giveaway.
Why do we have inflation, I guess?
Well, the number one reason, the simple solution is that Congress spends way too much money. They're spending money that we don't have. They're borrowing from our future to pay those bills. And then they're printing more money. And then the short answer, then the feds are raising interest rates to try to slow that. And ultimately, it comes back to the American people that the dollar now is worth about 80 cents compared to 4 years ago when Joe Biden took office. So we have a devaluation of the dollar. And really, if they would get their spending in order, that's our number one solution. We offer 3 solutions through Prosperity is Possible. Number one is a comprehensive budget from Congress that includes a timeline to get on a balanced budget like most of Americans and most business owners have to do.
Exactly.
Right? Number 2 is unleashing Americans' energy and also deregulating a lot of that sector so that they can do what they're best at, and that would help with energy costs. And the third thing is worker freedom, which is really the opposite of something like the PRO Act or, something that's forcing unionized labor. We're not against labor, but there's a time and a place for those. Mm-hmm. But we really think Americans need to be able to be gig workers. We've got so many people doing Uber drivers and all these side jobs, and they need to because they need to make extra money. Mm-hmm. So that's part of our 3 pitches for prosperity.
So you came to Erie and you did this inflation relief giveaway, and you were giving away $60 gas or $60 gift cards.
Right.
What's the significance of $60?
Well, here it was really great because Bellows Market is celebrating 60 years in business.
Well, that's nice. Yeah.
So we are giving away $60 gift cards because the average family of 4 is paying $58 and some odd cents a week extra for food compared to just 4 years ago.
So you rounded up.
So we round up to 60. So 60 years, $60. It was a perfect fit.
And you gave away 100 of these.
Yes, we gave away 100. And we also had a table full of swag, which we had T-shirts, hats, cups. And we give them literature, and education on our organization. Everybody was so wonderful. They were so appreciative. I mean, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Erie. We couldn't have asked for a better day.
People are really hurting. And when you think about that, that your dollar goes 20% less than it did just a blink of an eye ago, it's really remarkable. And, let alone electric bills and things
everything.
like that.
Everything's up an average of 20%. 2 years ago, we were at a 40-year high inflation. So I love to talk to people, and we love to get their personal stories.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the stories that you heard?
Well, like today we had a grandma who had lost her daughter and was raising her grandchildren. She had a house full, of kids to feed, and she's retired on a fixed income. $60 meant a lot to her.
Wow.
You know, I love when people come up to our table and they're like, well, what are you guys doing today? I'm like, oh, we're giving away $60 gift cards. And they just look at you like, what? Are you for real?
Yeah.
So it's such a great part of our job that we get to help people. We also get to bless small businesses who we support greatly because they've really been under a lot of pressure just since COVID. You know,
Sure.
it hasn't let up. First COVID, then inflation. So the other thing that really bothers me, and I'm happy to kind of be a voice, not just for the American people, but for business owners. You know, you've got people like Senator Bob Casey going around on his tour of greedflation, you know, blaming business owners for inflation, which angers me because, you know, businesses are absorbing inflation right now. They're not causing inflation. And we like to kind of be a set the record straight on that because, you know, he's the one that voted for those policies that to raise that spending that caused the inflation. And now he's trying to scapegoat that on the hardworking business owners of Pennsylvania and throughout the United States.
I mean, you have to also consider the concept of the workforce requiring more dollars to keep up, and it's hard to do that, and the supply chain issues.
There's a lot of issues businesses are struggling with, and a lot of them aren't making it. You know, I was in Punxsutawney, and we did a similar event at a diner. And I was talking to the owner there, and she said, you know, a lot of the small businesses around here that are restaurants have all closed. She's like, I'm one of the last ones left.
Wow.
And she even said if they raise minimum wage on me, she said, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Seriously, yeah.
They're just...
I think I probably was at that diner in Punxsy, the one that has all the...
Lil's, I'll say it, Lil's, the diner, the bakery, and the...
And it's a gift shop, too. They have all the paraphernalia, right?
She didn't know. That's a different
their one? Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
No, but I great stories. You know, we do coffee giveaways, too. I met a coffee shop owner, a veteran, grew up in a town in Pittsburgh, and he opened up a coffee shop and a breakfast shop there. We said, well, how's prices? Like, have you had to raise your costs on your customers? He was like, well, of course I have. And we said, well, give us an example of what has gone up. And he said, well, I used to buy a case of eggs for $10 to $15 a case. He said they went as high as $99 a case.
Oh, my word.
Last month, they were about $55 a case. He said, everything I buy is 2 to 3 times what it used to be. And, you know, you have to absorb some of that.
Sure.
Because practically, he can't change his menu prices every week when he buys eggs. If one week they're $50, another week they're $100, you know, he can kind of raise his prices and try to find an average and hope he picks the right number. But people don't understand that businesses are absorbing a lot of that cost.
You know, when you talk about prosperity as possible, it's a pretty positive approach, right? I mean,
Right.
That's
our positive campaign.
Right, that's your positive campaign. What is the what's the downside though? What's the grind? What would be the sacrifice that people would have to make? I mean, to a comprehensive budget might necessarily mean looking at entitlement programs.
Well,
and
absolutely.
things.
You know, nobody wants to look at that. That is part of the problem. You know, Congress has a small piece of the pie that they vote on, and they have, I think it's 12 separate spending bills that they approve. But nobody has any oversight over those. But you can't keep kicking the can down the road. We know that entitlements are going to go bankrupt. So, you know, you've got
even Donald Trump says you know, Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security are the third rail of politics, right?
Well, I think that America needs to take a good look at our budget, and we need to make some hard changes and some hard decisions to have prosperity. But to do nothing isn't going to be good for any of us.
Now, I'm 62, so I don't want anybody messing with it now. But if you're 42, you have a 20-year runway to say, hey, you know, instead of 67 being fully retired, let's make it 69 or 70. And then you could prepare for that, right? Is anybody willing to have that conversation?
I think there's people that will be willing to have that conversation, but I think you're getting into the weeds. People in general just need to understand the basics. You know, when I'm out talking to people and I say, do you know what causes inflation? A lot of them say, I really have no idea.
And it's true.
You know, even younger people, our college age kids. They
don't think that the government's causing inflation. They think
it's corporate greed because they just believe that corporations are evil, but you know, they don't realize, you know, who's providing jobs.
Yeah. You guys, AFP got the domain name of Bidenomics.
Yes.
And so what do you want to explain on that website.
Yeah, Bidenomics.com. So that's our other campaign. I mentioned we have our positive,
You're positive and your
prosperity is possible campaign
right.
is positive. Bidenomics is really to set the record straight on the economy not doing as well as President Biden says. So we started off with a Badenomics campaign.
Oh, yeah.
BAD. And one of our employees in our marketing team just kind of went out to Bidenomics.com because he wanted to see what was out there and realized the URL was available.
That's
so
amazing.
we bought it.
Wow.
So that was a great launch of Bidenomics.com. But I encourage people to go check it out because on the left side of the page, you'll see things that Joe Biden has said about the economy, and then we'll set the record straight on the right side of the page. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see real testimonies from people that we talk to at these events we do. For example, a lot of the video on that website is from a grocery store giveaway that we did north of Pittsburgh. And you hear personal stories. And it's really important, I think, for our elected officials to hear how inflation is really impacting everyday Americans. We have people that are giving up, not just going on vacation. We've heard stories of people giving up, like, food for medicine or
Wow.
having to not be able to drive to the same doctor because the gas was too expensive and it was too far away and they had to switch locations for cancer treatments. Or, like, we hear some real heart-wrenching stories. I've had people gift cards and had them give me hugs and start crying and say,
Wow.
like, you have no idea what this means to me. And that's not everybody,
Yeah.
but there are some real hurting people out there. And I think it's really easy for our elected officials to lose touch from what the regular American is dealing with. $11,400 is part of the Bidenomics campaign. That's how much it costs you extra per year to live the same lifestyle you did a year ago. Tell me how
That's insane.
Tell me how the average family is going to make almost $1,000 extra a month.
Wow. I mean, I just did my taxes. I think I made $80 more from year to year. Seriously.
$80.
It's kind of a flat year.
At least you didn't go backwards.
Right. Yeah.
And college kids, I have a son who's 22. It's like, how am I going to move out? How am I going to get out on my own? He's looking at interest rates for, buying a house. I mean, everything is up. And he shouldn't
You're
have
from
that
like
problem.
the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah,
Dana?
I live in the east suburbs of Pittsburgh.
I would imagine that the housing prices keep going up. A lot of upward pressure on the housing. Yeah.
But getting an interest rate for a mortgage.
Sure.
When Joe Biden took office, interest rates were like a little under 3%. You could get, if you had really good credit, you get like 2.75.
Right.
Now it's about 8.
Yeah.
I mean, that greatly increases your monthly payment. And I have a kid who went to a trade. He doesn't have any college debt.
Wow.
You get these college students that want Joe Biden to pay off their college debt. I'm like, okay, but do you know what everything's costing you?
Yeah.
I don't think they understand.
Mary Beth, what would you want to hear from people that are running? Not only the presidents, but we have a Senate race in Pennsylvania. We have congressional races. We have state Senate and state House. What would be music to your ears at Americans for Prosperity?
In general, or regarding a prosperity as possible?
Well, in general, yeah.
That would be my dream if we unleashed American energy and we reined in our spending and we said we weren't going to go into debt and we were going to get on a plan, maybe a 5-year plan for a balanced budget.
Yeah.
That'd be Camelot. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. I mean, we did balance a budget. What now? 1999? So is that 25 years more than that? I can't remember now.
Remember.
It's been crazy. Well, this is exciting. And again, anytime something like this happens in Erie,
Yeah.
it goes a long way because our median household income is lower than, let's say, Pittsburgh Metro or than the state average, and so even an infusion of $60 today for those 100 people that you reached out to means a big deal.
Well, and like I said, we like to support small businesses too.
Yeah.
We're happy to support an organization like Bellows Market. They were great people.
If people want to find out more,
They can go to americansforprosperity.org and they can see all of our policies because we do engage in other things besides inflation and economic policy. We have border and immigration policy. We have healthcare policy solutions. If they're specific to just our prosperity campaign, it's prosperitiespossible.com. And if they want to check out Joe Biden's economic successes and failures, they can go to Bidenomics.com.
I appreciate you taking the time. Mary Beth Cerrucci from Americans for Prosperity. Are you for all of Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for coming to Erie.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Great to be here.
It's the Joel Natale Show continuing here on this Wednesday. Stay with us. More ahead on Talk Erie. Talk Erie, the Joel Natale Show. Let's continue on with some national stories here. Of course, it's interesting to hear from Mary Beth because, here they are, here's this national conversation coming to Erie, right? As far as, it's the inflation is definitely impacting people from Erie, right?